For 2023, the Toyota Highlander gets an all-new turbocharged engine option. We have a first drive right now on Driving Sports TV. With an eye on improved economy, reduced emissions, and better performance, the Toyota Highlander is getting an all-new engine starting with the 2023 model year. What we have here is a 2.4-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that produces up to 265 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. That is a slight drop of 30 horsepower from the outgoing 3.5-liter V6, but a nice bump of close to 50 additional pound-feet of torque. This is now the standard petrol offering across the board. Of course, you can still get the hybrid if you prefer that. More is good, but what this engine produces less of is perhaps even more important. Compared to the old V6, this new engine produces 50% fewer of the particle emissions that create ugly and unhealthy smog. It also gets a bonus 1 extra mile to the gallon. Obviously, if fuel consumption is your primary concern, the Highlander Hybrid will continue to be a popular option. But if you're regularly hauling gear or just have a large family, the Turbo provides a better option of the two. This new trim is also great at towing, with the ability to tow up to 5,000 pounds, with included sway control to keep things moving in a straight line. The turbocharged Highlander starts at $36,420 US. Hybrid models start at $40,020. Like the V6 before it, the Turbo will be available in either front or all-wheel drive. So while it does have a new engine, it is a carryover of the all-wheel drive system from the V6 model. Now let's see what's changed on the inside. So here we are inside the new turbocharged Highlander. Now the Highlander was all new in 2020. This version is really just kind of a mid-cycle refresh, and we get a lot of really good things in addition to that new turbocharged four-cylinder under the hood. First and foremost, this new infotainment system. Now this is the same one that we've seen on many new Lexus and Toyota vehicles. It is their in-house developed cloud-connected system, and it is thoroughly modern. It has navigation, it has integration for mobile devices with wireless Apple CarPlay, yay. It'll also support multiple mobile devices, so you can have up to 2 devices hooked up for those of you who might have both a work and personal mobile device. The interface, I think, is pretty nice. However, it's a 1.0, and I think that some things could be improved, like navigation between channels. You have to hit the buttons on the screen. There's no physical switchgear, although we do get a volume level over there, which is nice. The navigation is technically the home screen. They didn't actually bother to make a real home screen with many modal windows. Instead, we only get navigation here. And it is actually a really good navigation system. I can even use freestyle voice prompts. For example, hey, Toyota.
How can I help you?
Find the nearest coffee shop.
The closest coffee shop is Highbrow Coffee Plus Tea at 188 Front Street, number 102.
Nice.
Would you
Go there.
Calculating route to Highbrow Coffee Plus Tea.
Okay, so super easy to use. Now,
Starting
beyond,
route guidance.
go ahead and end that. Beyond navigation, it can also command what's going on inside the cabin here. Set temperature to 72 degrees. Oh, hey Toyota.
How can I help you?
Set the temperature to 72 degrees.
Setting the driver's temperature to 72 degrees.
Nice. So this particular vehicle that we're in is the new limited all-wheel drive. It is exterior color cypress, and the interior is harvest beige. If you like this setup, that's how you can get it. The price starts for this limited all-wheel drive at $48,025. Panoramic view monitor for surround view cameras, which is cool. Let me go ahead and show you that. It's right there, and it also will illustrate underside of the vehicle as well too when you're going forward, which is really good for off-road, although we'll do a different video with this taking it off-road later when this actually becomes available up in Seattle. Right now we're in Tennessee. Limited all-wheel drive starting at $48,025, panoramic view monitor for an extra $850, DPH for $1,335, and then the estimated MSRP of $50,210 as you see it here. As for the rest of the interior, it's not a lot new. I mean, the buttons here are basically the same. Materials are still very good. We get lots of different drive modes, including sport and eco. We also have a mud, sand, and rock and dirt mode. Now, those are important to know. Mud and sand will allow for additional wheel spin in an all-wheel drive off-roading situation, and rock and dirt actually will do less spin so that you're not going to be grinding your tires up on rocks to give you more traction in lower speed situations. But we're in Tennessee. It's currently warm out and completely dry, and there's no off-road stuff here. So we're going to have to take this vehicle back to Seattle for a later off-road review, which we will do. So be sure to come back later for that review. Today, this is really just our first drive. And I am really curious if this turbo feels any better than the outgoing V6. We already know that it has lower emissions and one better MPG. But now let's see how it performs. And away we go. Oh, hey, that feels pretty good, actually. The Highlander for the last 6 years has been the #1 family 3-row crossover. It is extraordinarily popular, and most of those sales are for the V6. So it'll be really interesting to see just how many people will decide for or against the Highlander now that it is switching over to a turbocharged 4-cylinder. And I have to say, right off the bat, it feels pretty good. I can't really tell the difference. So I did recently drive a Highlander V6 up in Vermont. I was out on a video shoot for Hemmings Motor News, and I was a director of photography on an upcoming series they have. And while I was out there, I had a Highlander V6 as a rental. And yeah, it was actually a really nice drive. I like that V6. It's a comfortable seating position. It really reminded me about everything I like about this vehicle. It's just a really well thought out vehicle that is plenty capable for the occasional trail. You're not going to do any rock climbing with it or anything like that because it is a clutch-based all-wheel drive system. It's only going to push up to about 50% of power to the back at the most. And as we found with this system overall, it does enough, but it doesn't do a ton. You know, it's a very, very conservative all-wheel drive system. But, you know, for an everyday driver, that's okay. Let's go ahead and punch it. Nice. So the throttle is very smooth on this. I'm not really getting any of that turbo lag that you might typically equate to a turbo setup. Power comes on quickly. Whoop, it does get most of the power around the 4,000 RPM revs, and you know, that's pretty good. That's okay. It's part of Toyota's approach to improve not just their hybrids and their battery electrics, but also their gas engines, to make sure their gas engines are also moving forward in terms of both economy as well as emissions and all those kind of things. Really like this. Everything falls to hand nicely. Now, this infotainment system, there are a lot of things I like about it. It's very modern, but it's definitely feeling that whole 1.0, as in there's no multimodal view up here. It's just navigation. I would like to see navigation and my current music selection and then maybe phone status and something, but you can't do that. And that's kind of a little disappointing. I do like this multifunction display over in the middle here. We have a nice big, very clear, easy to read digital cluster over here, and I can change what I'm seeing on the display, and it has a lot of information at a glance. Again, something I very much like. Power. So overall, the Highlander is still probably going to be the #1 family crossover. I don't see any reason for people to ixnay this one because of the lack of the V6A, but I think it's a good one. Okay, so this is equipped with the Toyota all-wheel drive system that has twin couplers in the back to help push power to the outside wheel to help it rotate around corners, in addition to giving it better grip in slippery conditions. Now, we don't have slippery conditions today because we're in Tennessee at the end of summer. Everything's dry here. So what we can test is how well it corners. So I'm going to go into this corner up here. I've got to get over the speed bump. Suspension soaks that up real nice. Okay, so down here in the leaves, I'm going to go ahead, turn in, add a little throttle, and I can feel that tail kind of moving around a little bit because of the extra power going to that outside wheel. It's a very subtle but very reassuring experience. And we've talked about it before in Highlander reviews, and it's just one thing that's really nice about this specific Toyota all-wheel drive setup. Yeah, like right there, throttling in, going through the corner, it just really cuts that corner nicely. And it's coupled with this really balanced suspension that really makes it just a really easy vehicle to like. You know, it's not too soft, it's not too hard, it handles great for what it is. Overall, it's just really, it should continue to be the best-selling crossover. And then there's the power. It's there. I mean, this is a big boy. It tows up to 5,000 pounds. And they even include sway control to help keep that trailer on the straight and narrow, which is something you kind of really want if you're towing large loads. Now, would this be my go-to for towing? Not so sure. I have a Ford Ranger Tremor, and I much prefer towing with that. Of course, it also has a towing capacity of up to 7,500. So 5,000 is like, whatever. That's no big deal at all. I mean, this is really nice. I'm really enjoying this. They did a great job with this vehicle. Just, it's a Japanese approach to manufacturing where they just make incremental updates every single year, and then you realize, man, this is really good. The Highlander has always been a quality product, but now I feel like it's really kind of been elevated with the new infotainment, with the new more efficient turbocharged engine. Watch out, competition. It may not be all new this year, but it's definitely gunning to keep that #1 position. For Driving Sports TV, I'm Ryan Douthit. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, share our videos. We make them for you, and I do hope you enjoy them.